And thank you so much for joining us out here in Tsaile, Arizona, a beautiful country on this Wednesday, folks. So we're live right here on Facebook Nation. And those of you who are joining us, the beautiful Diné Center. We'll go back to the year 1968 of what Diné College is today. So you can get online, dinecollege.edu, to enroll online. So we're looking forward to that. Two good friends of mine over here, you see. You got Geri Hongeva with Mike Camarillo, both two joining us and talking about this gentleman over here. He is his grandson, a cousin,
I am
cousins to Gerald and Leo Camarillo. They're the two Native Americans to first put in a 4-second run in the team roping event, and of course known throughout the country from California. So good to say. He's a cowboy too. Look at him. Yeah, I got to see that cowboy. But you know, talking about our good friends here on the Navajo Nation, Hopi, we have our Navajo Hopi honor riders that took a trip out to Washington, D.C. They've been back on Friday. So Geri, your experience of being part of that, and what is it that inspired you to be part of this 5,000 plus miles to Washington?
Well, you know, I've always wanted to do Run for the Wall. They do an annual event at the same time. However, because of the COVID-19 virus, they did cancel that event. However, there was a small group of people who coordinated something very similar called Flags of Honor. Pretty much the same stops along the way, give or take. So I jumped on board from Flagstaff, Arizona, all the way into Washington, D.C. It took 10 days to go across the country, and the total amount of days that I was on the road was 17 days. The trip was kind of into two parts. The first part of my trip from here to Washington, D.C., I rode that for my dad. You know, I rode for my dad. I dedicated that ride to Patrick Cabe, U.S. Army. He was a Vietnam veteran. He passed away in December 1999. He was only 49 years old. He had the Agent Orange in his nasal respiratory cavity, and we quickly lost him. But you know, the memories are strong with me. His words are strong with me. He was the man of my life, my hero, and he was the first person between him and my grandpa. Really taught me how to pray. You know, how to pray, how strong it is when you're alone, when you're sad, when you're happy, when you're afraid. You know, always turn to prayer. And you kind of rejuvenate yourself, and you give yourself the strength and prayer. And you know, he'll always be there for me. And the second part of the trip, coming back west into Marcellus, Illinois, we stopped at the Middle Eastern conflict wall. And coming back west from Washington, D.C. to Indianapolis area, I dedicated that ride to Lorianne Paestua. And we lost her March 2003, first Native American female to be killed in combat. And you know, that was really emotional in itself. I did talk to Mom Percy Paestua on Memorial Day when we reached the wall. You know, as I'm sitting there in front of her wall where her name is, I talked to her mother, Percy, and you know, just a very, very emotional moment.
Right.
You know, to talk to the mom on the phone and to have that time with her, just to tell her that, you know, we love her and we're thinking of her. And she was gave me a lot of wise words to keep me strong. You know, I felt her presence and really felt like I can do this as a Native woman, as a mother. You know, I have 2 kids. My daughter's 15, my son is 22, and I'm not a veteran, but my husband is. My husband served 12 years in the U.S. Navy, so he dedicated a lot of his time for this country, for our people, for his family, for his community. And I feel very strongly and very supportive in supporting all of our Native American veterans and all the veterans across the United States. Through my journey, I met so many people, you know, so many friends. A lot of the riders are Vietnam veterans themselves, and there's a lot of times I kept thinking my dad would have been that old, you know, the wrinkles and the white hair, and I felt like the aura was there,
Right. Along the way, Geri, you mentioned that you experienced, us as Navajos, code talkers, and being Navajo, you're recognized.
Yeah, definitely. Different communities that we visited, of course, they wanted to know what nationality I am. I said I'm Native American, I'm Navajo, and when I say Navajo, their eyes light up, and they go, "Oh, Navajo code talkers," and they put us on the map. Not just the United States, but internationally. And the Navajo Code Talkers is so proud of them. We have one in every community, and they're very, very special to us. And I think that with the Native veterans and Navajo Code Talkers, we always have something to talk about.
Very well elaborated. Thank you so much, Geri Hongeva. And talking about our veteran representing the Navy, Mr. Geri, as mentioned, husband, we have Mike Camarillo. And that, being a veteran, and this is very important on the road trip that your wife, Geri, has gone on Washington, D.C., but you still had a lot of things that you had to work on to stay home. And so what is the meaning of making this trip to Washington, D.C.?
Well, I support my wife, 100%. When she told me about this trip, I was all for it. And I just wanted to make sure that everything back home was taken care of, so she wouldn't have to, worry about. So, not only was I, maintaining the household, with the kids and supporting them and all of their daily activities that we had to do, and plus I was still working, part-time with my job. Every day we had a conversation about what was going on back home, some of the things, and just the support, not only that I was giving her, but when I would tell her about other community members that found out that she was on this trip, they supported her as well, and they thought it was just great. And being a veteran, myself, I relish the fact that she was able to do this. I'm not a Vietnam veteran, I'm a Desert Storm veteran, and I understand what it's like to serve and the hardships that go along with, serving, coming back home and trying to regain your life, as it was before when you left. It's difficult. And when people ride and support, that's great. It opens up my heart as well.
Right, and thank you so much for what you do. Here on the Navajo Nation, you've been involved with the government for the past 12 years or so, and that being here, more of a native on the lands of the Navajo Nation. So now we're going through this virus, COVID-19. It's taken a lot away from us. We're living every day. What have you learned from this now that you're on Navajo land?
I've learned that that through any type of this pandemic we're going through and everything else that's happening, throughout the United States, that communities will stick together. They're bonding, and I can't say that enough. I've seen people just come together through donations, through time, taking time off from their daily schedules and their daily activities to help someone in need that they don't even know. You hear about all these celebrities and you hear all these famous people, wanting to donate and help the Navajo Nation. I'm not Navajo, but I am Native. I'm from the Pasquale Yaqui Nation. And like you said, LA, I've lived and worked on Navajo land since 1995, and I just love the fact that the Navajo Nation has come together through this pandemic and to support all their community members and the nation as well.
Well, thank you so much for what you do. A good friend of ours here in Tsaile, Arizona, Mr. Mike Camarillo. Back over here
Thank you, Ellie.
To Hongeva, the traditional values. You learned so much from your grandparents, your grandma, the prayers, and what we're going through today. What have you learned from this? And a lot of us are going back in our traditional values.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the COVID-19 virus hitting Navajo country severely in all the different communities, I know personally from our family, what has really brought us to surface is prayer. I think sometimes we forget about prayer during our daily life, busy life, and chaotic schedule, and we've been reminded to pray daily, a couple times even, especially for those who are sick, who are feeling sick. who are scared or maybe even have some depression going on because now they're isolated. You know, I work a lot with the veterans, and I know that riding is to us is therapy. And yeah, you're on your bike, you have your helmet on. We did an honor ride this morning. You have your helmet on, you have your mask on. It's also therapeutic for us. We may not have a long conversation, but knowing that you have a riding brother, a riding sister right next to you, you know, that helps one another, and just being near each other. You know, we couldn't have that big conversation that we normally do. We all parted separate ways, but the big thing is, especially when you're riding, you know, I do a lot of prayers, and riding from here to DC, you know, through sun, rain, and just different types of weather, unfamiliar territory, hills, trees, you know, unknown vegetation, little things that could get in your way that might be dangerous. You know, you just have to pray about it. And I know that when I got to Washington, D.C. and having to burn that sage, you know, have that sage burning and really cleansing the energy, and also refocusing and rejuvenating your body and your soul and your mind through prayer, you know, is really important. And I think that things you're praying for, things you're thankful for, things you're scared of. We all have a creator, you know, whatever prayer, whatever denomination you are. I always encourage people, just pray in your own little way, you know, in your language. And some people do all Navajo, all English, and we have to respect all of it. My great-grandma always taught me, always respect prayer, no matter what kind of prayer it is. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much joining us here in Tsaile, Arizona. A lot of good things being said, and we've all learned something about what we have going on across Navajo land of our virus, and that take care of yourself, watch your surrounding, keep your distance. You know, please obey our leadership of the Navajo Nation. Jonathan is, Myron Lizer, they have their town hall meetings. You know, this is the only way we'll get past all this. And being a rider on the bike here, going to Washington, D.C., and there's a meaning behind all this, the prayers, and even out there to take a little run, you know, take your animals out for a run. You know, all this, it'll clear off. Run for tomorrow, ride for tomorrow, pray for tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us here. Nada Toffee Center here on the campus of Diné College. Thank you so much for joining us right here at Tsaile, USA.
Go on that.